Oklahoma, Wall Street, and had it burned to the ground. This is the place where the indentured servants and the wretched refuse were told to run, grab a flag, and move the others out of the way. We're America's Australia around here. Of course it happened here. And through that conference, I got to meet a pretty extraordinary man who, like many people during this progressive moment in Oklahoma, was invited to come here to help. When Oklahoma had just taken down, when Norman had just taken down the signs saying that if you were a person of color, you needed to be on the other side of the city limits when the sun went down. And I have no idea why he said yes, but Norman and Oklahoma will be forever grateful that he did. His name is Dr. George Henderson, Professor Emeritus, Chair of the Department of Human Relations Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Henderson.
I've spent 55 years as a social activist, teacher, 50 of those years in Oklahoma. I've been involved in a lot of activities. Nothing more gratifying than finding a place called Norman, Oklahoma that said, you can't live there. And I said, what you talking about? It's late. You've been sitting for a while. I'll try to make this brief. I'm amazed. I have never understood why so many white people want to feel guilty. And I'm not going to do that for you. Others have done a good job on that. I think I think now it's kind of like communion, I guess. You go and you confess, and then you start all over again. And yes, we have problems. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The question is not what we will talk about, but what will we do after we've stopped talking about those things? If anyone should ever write my life story for whatever reason there may be, it will be a story of multicultural, multiracial, straight, gay, old, young, rich, poor, middle income, aged, people with and without disabilities. It would be about us, we the people of Norman, Oklahoma. But I wondered, what would happen if you sent out a tweet or posted on Facebook? What kind of people would show up? And here you are. You're here, most of you, maybe all of you, I don't know, because you are committed to the cause. Didn't have to tell you to be committed. You're here. My question to each of us is this. If you cannot, as you've been encouraged by the wonderful speakers before me, if you are not able or for whatever reason cannot join together in groups, what will each of you do in the places and spaces where you are? Edwin Hale was absolutely correct. The question is not what I would do if I had more time or money or influence, but what I will do with what I have. I'm only one and I can't do everything, but I am one and I can do something. And because can do something, I will not refuse to do that thing that I can do. Do not refuse to do that thing that you can do to help another person. We came tonight and we sat in seats and we stared straight ahead. I want to take just a few moments. I want you to turn around and say hi to somebody that you've been sitting next to or sitting in front of. Just say hello to them, please.
Hi.
Hi.
That's better. You should not attend a meeting as strangers and leave as strangers. Don't let it end here. I allowed you to do that on my time. Do it on your time next time. All right. What I have come to tell you, I have no magic, I have no great truths, but I have lived a life. I've lived a life in which I understand that Norman is not like almost every other place that I know. It is like every other place that I know. There are people who hate, who love, and who are indifferent. There are people who have dreams, and people who have nightmares, and people who are trying to stay afloat, and people who are trying to get to know others, and people who are trying to do a lot of things. We hurt. We're disappointed. We have moments of joy. Norman, Oklahoma has allowed me to have all of those experiences. Having the honor and privilege of being the first black property owner in Norman, I'm sitting and I'm listening, and I'm trying to factor in something. If by innuendo, Norman is such a bad place, how did I survive here? I survived here because of people like you, the good people, the caring people, my friends who became my dear friends, my adversaries, some of them who became my colleagues, and most of all, the children. My generation was a generation that was taught to hate, to kill, and to integrate, and they're in every community. I'm not talking about what's on the news today. I'm talking about we are today. We've got a lot of things that we have to either forget or disavow. But for every moment of negative energy that we spend, it means that we can't do positive things. So I set aside just a few minutes or maybe an hour to be angry, to be disgusted, and to be furious, and then I said, that's it. Now, let's get on with the business of doing something. You've had your moments of sitting and being angry and whatever emotions you had. What will you do when you leave here? I have spent 55 years in this human rights activity. If you think that you're going to get it done tomorrow, it's not going to happen. If you think you're going to get it done next week, it probably is not going to happen. I guess I'm saying, are you in for the long haul, or are you just here as a voyeur? Confession. This community called Norman allowed me to come face to face with my truth. At the university, I taught that people want to learn to live together, get along together, and judge a person by their behavior. Well, I spent all of my life, when I was growing up, living in an all-black neighborhood. I came to Norman, my wife and I brought 7 children and a mother-in-law here. 8 o'clock at night, doorbell rings. 12, 13-year-old white male standing there. I opened the door and I said, I paid for the paper last week, and closed the door. Doorbell rings, same kid standing there. He said, Mr. Henderson, I'm not your paper boy, I've come to take Faith to a movie. I was frozen in time. I stood there with my mouth open, which seemed like 2 weeks. It was only just a few minutes. And finally, when I gathered myself, I said, son, I teach that human relations stuff at the university. We don't live it in this house. I did something that was very foolish. I told my wife-to-be, Barbara Beard, that if you marry me, honey, we're going to have a democratic family. We're going to vote on things. We're going to talk about things. 6 daughters and 1 son later, I have never won a vote. So guys sitting out there, no democracy. You be dictator. Faith Elaine came to me. She says, Dad, you're part of the civil rights movement. You've taught us that we ought to judge a person by the quality of their character, not the color of their skin. Why are you behaving so badly when our white classmates come to hang around with us or go to movies and do things that kids do together? Didn't you believe that stuff that you taught us? And I thought for a moment, I said, but I never had a chance to live it. And she said, we do, let us. And the rest is family history. My grandchildren and great-grandchildren are multiracial. Wouldn't have had it any other way. But more importantly than that, it told me that you, George Henderson, can't just teach it, you've got to live it, and you've got to live it every single day. And so consequently, you've heard the speeches, you have things that you want to do or think that you want to do them.
Yes, do
just
it.
Do it.
Yes, do it.
And while you're doing it, I learned from my mentor and friend Martin Luther King Jr., don't demonize your adversaries. Dislike the behavior, but never the person. There's been too much demonizing going on around here, where we say we dislike people who happen to be whatever. You don't know them. They don't know you. The people who didn't want me in Norman, many of them, none of them, very few of them knew me at all. If after you interact with me and you don't like me, that's fine. I understand that. I didn't like you either. Maybe I'm saying something else less profound. We change attitudes and behavior one person at a time. Do what you can do as much as you want to do, and do it because it's the right thing to do and not because somebody told you to do it. I've stayed in Norman because I want to be here. Yes, change is coming. And for the young ones who are here, you cannot have a successful human rights, civil rights movement if you're only going to communicate vis-a-vis your cell phones. Put those damn things down and talk to the person next to you. Don't talk to them. He's here and you're here and you're saying, hey, Charlie, how are you? Yeah, gotcha. The encounter must be face to face. Don't avoid it. You're here now. Let's have that encounter. Streets must be changed if they're oppressive and offensive. Buildings perhaps must be changed too, and statues and whatever else you want to do. But first of all, Michael Jackson said it well. If you want to make a change, take a look in the mirror and change that person that you're looking at. It starts with us. This much I do know. I've had an opportunity to live in many different places, and every time I said no, I'll stay in Norman. Many of you will have opportunities to leave, and you may or may not come back. But while you're here, this is my home. Respect it, and respect the people in it. If you cannot love them, like them. And if you can't do any of that, do minimum harm. Don't hurt them. I don't ever want to hurt my adversaries. What good does it do to belittle them? No, the behavior is another matter. Tonight, this is the night for Norman. I don't know what you expected coming here, but I expected to give you something because you've come here that I've received throughout the world. That's for you, because you are Norman, and this is our town, and not on our watch will it turn into something that TV people want to watch and say, oh my God. So tonight, Norman, let us decide that every day and every day and every day we're going to get better, and at some time we're going to be like this instead of this. I may not see it, but it's going to happen. I leave you with this thought. If you try to be the best Normanites that you possibly can, I will love you. If you don't try to be the best, I will love you. Because you're a human being, and I can't give you dignity. You were already given that by your Creator. But you're here. You're here, and I need you, and we need one another, as the speakers have said. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome. We sang. Everybody's got a right to live, we sang. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, we sang. Change is going to come. Freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. I found freedom in Norman. I found friends here. And I pray that other people find what I found here, a home. We're not a perfect place. There are no perfect people. But I can assure you we're a better place in 2017 than we were in 1967. Whose side are you on? Our side. All of us. Go, Norman. Do it.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. One more time for Dr. Henderson. Why don't you take a minute and light those candles? And yeah, I heard that. That thank you, George. We did 1, 2, 3. That 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that very much. I like what he said. There's one side. We called this event One Side. Spurred and the catalyst for this evening was not a pleasant one because of what happened in Charlottesville. We watched some ugly things, but we saw some beautiful things here tonight. You take a minute, light your candles, say hi to your neighbor while you're doing it, and we'll have a quick moment when everybody's ready.
I don't have one. They're all gone.
Here.
I was just going to try to...
Everybody ready? No,
Good job.
give you another minute.
Stick it in the fire, not in the wax.
Beautiful.